Hi, welcome to week 3 of digital photojournalism. This week we're going to get into spot news, which a lot of people really don't have a real concrete understanding of, and it's one of the biggest assignments to have for this class. Not to mention as a photojournalist, if that's something you ever want to get into. Spot news is breaking news. It's news that does not have a long shelf life. It's news about something that's happening immediately that needs to be reported on immediately. So most of the context this week gets into that definition of what spot news is. But we're starting off with an assignment that's due tomorrow. What I'm asking you to do here is to shoot wide, is to use your widest angle lens that you have. Anything below, say, 35 and below would be considered a wide-angle lens. So chances are you have a short zoom that goes from 18 or maybe 24 to 70. And so if you shot that at its widest, that would go through and help you fulfill the assignment. Make sure you read the rubric completely. There are 3 different aspects to this assignment. I'm asking you to go out and shoot with your camera at a wide angle, and then talk about the influence that focal length has on editorial as far as what your image is actually saying. Wide angle lenses have a tendency to go through and distort and make things larger than they really are. And especially people, noses, faces, that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what you decide to do. Make sure you read that rubric all the way through there. Next up in the module, then we get into understanding spot news, and that's a video that I've cut that gets into the different types of spot news. You'll be tested on that probably, and you'll need to go through and make sure that you understand each of those different types of spot news. And there's some nuance in between them. I'm not going to get necessarily into, differentiating disaster from catastrophe kind of a thing, but still something that you need to be aware of with what's going on. A couple of stories that I have within that one there as well. The next one is the camera obscura. It's another video that I've cut that talks about the idea of the camera. We're going to talk about the lens a little bit later on. But the camera itself and what that's all about, its history, the origin of that a little. And then we'll get into a breakdown of film cameras and how the shutter and what's going on with that, and how that has evolved into our current iterations of digital single lens reflex cameras. I also have a field of view comparator on there, third from the bottom, that you might want to take a look when it comes to this idea of a digital pickup. That'll give you some sense of what a 2/3 chip is versus a full frame versus, what's CMOS, that kind of thing. Not a bad idea to go through and take a look at that comparator, especially if you happen to be shopping for a camera, because this will go through and maybe clear some things up, maybe even cause some more questions there. I shoot with a 2/3 chip with my Fujifilm stuff, the Canon stuff, the 60 that I have is full frame. I only use a full frame for commercial stuff, and I'm shooting the Fujifilm. I shoot portraits and most of my bread and butter type of photography with that. So unless I'm going to blow it up really huge, I'm really not all that concerned about going full frame with that. After the camera obscura in the third week module, there's another entry called Camera Obscura, and it looks at Abelardo Morell. Click on that, and click on the image that comes up. That'll take you to a link out to CBS News. Actually, it goes to CBS this morning. And there's a video there that I want you to watch as Abelardo Morell goes through and kind of exploits the concept of the camera obscura. I think it's pretty fascinating what he does here. And it puts to test, really, the whole physics behind this concept of optics and lenses and the camera obscura itself. Below that, I have another quick clip called Silver and Light, and that's a photographer by the name of Reuther, who creates his own camera obscura. He creates it out of a truck. It's probably the world's largest camera. It's a box truck, like a bread truck, and he turns that into this huge camera obscura. And as an artist, he finds some incredible satisfaction and some very deep challenges with that as well. So I want you to take a look at that there as well. And I think that's understanding composition. I do a little bit of a review with Andrew Henderson, who is a photojournalist, and I talk about his composition influences in what he does. A quick video there that I want you to take a look at. And then lastly is an essay called Breaking News, and there's a double entendre with that. I wrote this essay a while back, but I want you to read it as we talk about or start getting more familiar with the idea of what news really is. And you know, we're living in a time now where people can't figure out what is really news and what isn't. With the whole concept brought about by this current administration about this concept of fake news. And if you really dissect that out, look at the etymology of that, there's no such thing as fake news, really. There is a such thing as lying, and there's lots of that going on too. But in defense of the First Amendment, we probably need to take a better look at how news is represented, especially how it's represented photographically. And you throw the digital adjective on top of that, and you know, there's all kinds of things that we can do to go through and manipulate the truth as we see it photographically. Anyway, so the essay kind of talks about that a little bit, and chances are you'll be tested on everything that's within that module. So if you have any questions about what's going on, feel free to get a hold of me. You know, I'm hoping you know how to do that through Canvas's email, and I'll be keeping a watch as well for any questions that you might have that pop up on the discussion post. Ask me anything or have a question or something like that. Okay? All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good week, and we'll see you later on.